I have decided to go with the breakdown of all the things that we have seen from the brand new trailer, or you want to say even the gameplay more or less, from the Death Stranding that was just recently revealed. Now, let's just begin so I don't drag this long enough for you guys as well. So, obviously, one of the things, as we were all suspecting that Death Stranding would be an open world title. Now, there are certainty of some kind of survival elements in play, like obviously we can hear some kind of mysterious babies being referred to as some kind of resources perhaps, and it seems like that there is some kind of limited oxygen will play a role or something in that regard anyway.
That's why we came prepared.
A bridge baby, huh?
Makes me feel like shit every time.
Well, you are plugging into the other side. Freaks me out too.
Now, given that we see protagonist wearing warm clothes during the snow section, when Norman Reedus, or I should say Sam, is trying to walk, like Death Stranding will likely utilize some kind of perhaps some kind of temperature system that players need to be accounted for with their outfits, and just to make sure that they know what they're doing and what they're wearing. Now, also navigating in this world, right, walking around, going through places, it will be a huge part of the experience, obviously. Now, the player's item wheel seemingly includes a grappling hook, some kind of like a retractable ladder, as we've seen, and what appears to be some kind of climbing pick or an ice axe. There seems to be quite a bit of the freedom in regards of how you'll be able to navigate with lots of the vertical and, of course, the horizontal options. Now, speaking of getting around, right, players will clearly have access to some kind of motorcycle, and it looks pretty cool. And I'm hoping that there will be something more than just a motorcycle. I'm hoping that we can drive some cars as well that we've seen in here. Now, obviously, the next thing I would want to mention is the combat. Seems a little bit strange. It does look like your best option is to simply run away, which was actually showcased quite a bit of, in fact. But however, you clearly be able to utilize some kind of a CQC techniques as a last resort. Now, we've obviously seen Sam utilize a briefcase as a makeshift weapon, so you can use your own briefcase to take care of the fellas out there. Now, the player's weapon wheel does include a weaponry, like some kind of gun, so you clearly be able to use them in some, or of course I'm sure they're kind of limited to it, and they are some kind of capacity. Now, we see Sam use a gun later, but appears to occur during this specific combat section that may be in the story segment that was referred to in some kind of World War I or something like that. It was weird. The whole trailer was weird. It was awesome though. Now, there are some couple of the instances of the tracking in the trailer. I'm not too sure if maybe it was a detective mode or something. That the first comes when Sam sends out some kind of sonar wave. This seems to be offered to some kind of after image, maybe something ghosting image that nearby items and other noteworthy objects will be around the place. And the second instance of the tracking sees Sam venture into the woods and leave a series of the bright blue footsteps. And it seems like there are a little bit of a different variety of colors, a series of the bright orange footsteps left by the invisible some kind of predator. Now, we obviously hear that Sam's backpack gives out some kind of noise similar to the radio in the Silent Hill, mind you. This was also likely serves as a warning system that plays up on the game's horror elements, perhaps, or some kind of supernatural. Sony also has confirmed, I do want to mention this, there is some kind of elements of the online gameplay that will allow you to share supplies, save houses, routes with the other players. So, I want to say similarly to perhaps Dark Souls, maybe? Who knows? Now, there's also been confirmed that there's no traditional death in this game, and that dying will just require you to find your way back to the other side. So this is interesting. Now, talking about continuation anyway, some kind of plot, some kind of Death Stranding, like that it takes place in some kind of futuristic version of the United States of America. And America is somewhat surprisingly refers several times during the game's gameplay trailer. Now, most of the references to America involved mentions of being divided. And while this is almost certainly a play on the current events, it seems some kind of a catastrophic event that caused America to become even more divided, perhaps even literally. I don't know, actually, we've seen a map later on in the game that shows a geographically split version of the USA with the word bridges written above it. Now, it seems like the logo of the SAM's organization, or one he's at least assisting. Now, as a bit referred to, we see the President of the United States lying in a sick bed in the Oval Office. She pleads with Sam to help bring America together again. This is likely maybe some kind of, I'm not sure, a flashback perhaps, or very early in a plot event. Like, Sam was clearly a soldier at some point. We see him interacting with the dog tags, and there are several war sequences as well, as I mentioned. And now Edge Knot City is referenced in the trailer and sounds like a major local in the world, just so you know. There's also some kind of terrorist group called Homo Demens, I hope I'm butchering the name, who seems to be the faction that many of the humans, perhaps maybe not so much of a human as well, enemies we've seen so far belong to.
It's all to safeguard the continued independence of Edge Knot City. They want the UCA to leave him be.
Who are these assholes again?
Homo Demons. Militant separatist group.
I've heard of them. Bunch of terrorists who go around towns killing people and leaving craters.
Right. Nothing's off limits for them. Not even engineering void outs. There are extremists like the demons everywhere. Plotting in the shadows.
And now, there's also, as I have touched on already, the invisible enemies we've seen in the past that are actually called BTs. They seem to be attracted to the rain, maybe they even cause the rain, to drop.
Good thing it was raining. Even they know better than to mess with BTs.
Now, there have been many babies we've seen in the previous previews are called bridge babies. Sam says they allow people to form some kind of connection with the, I put down quotes, the other side. It's apparently not a pleasant process as well. Now, I'm gonna get into my theories. Now, there's an emphasis on the gold itself, the color in the trailer. Many of the pre-order bonuses even involve gold items, giving us some of the references of the lighting in the game. Of course, I'm guessing that the gold is prominent because of it's a fantastic conductor, or whatever it is. Oil, also, appears to be some other major resource in this world, given some of the game's commentary. I'm guessing that it's just that the Death Stranding world is one where the West thirst for the oil has gone way too far, perhaps. And now, in quotes, war sequence in the release date trailer kind of feels out of place, doesn't it? Like, this is most likely some kind of flashback or trip to the other side. Again, I put that in the quotes. This is supported by a visual of the soldiers just simply, fading in, fading out. It's kind of cool. I like that. Seeing the tanks as well, World War I tanks, it's freaking cool. Now, speaking of the other side, it's not clear exactly what it means to be in the context of this game. Now, the most obvious takeaway is that the reference to the dead, Hades, is even mentioned at one point. It feels like that the events that caused this current state of the affairs were at least partially caused by an attempt to connect to the other side, perhaps. Now, also, I do want to consider some of the game's other commentary. Like, I'm guessing that there's a connection to the other side or somehow based on the idea of living in the past, perhaps. Maybe you can't let go of the past or something like that. Now, craters and voidouts are referenced in the relation of the terrorist group. Voidouts are most likely involved attempts at the connection with the other side, and the craters are what is left behind in the wake of this process, I believe so. Now, based on the way the release date trailer was shot, it seems that Mads Mikkelsen character, Cliff, is a connection to the other side. He presented as the leader of the specialized military group who seems to have access to powers. This is Hideo Kojima, he's insane. Now, Mads Mikkelsen, I want to mention him as well again, that it's framed as one of the game's villains, and has been talked about him a little bit already. But it seems much more likely that he's going to be something of a chaotic neutral presence in this world. Now we also see a child floating in a tube below the words baby recovery system, if I put that in quotes once again. This is either a hint that you're actively rescuing babies in the world, or a hint that babies in the game will need time to recover from their adventures. Given that the percentage shown beneath the baby, it could very well be the latter anyway. Now there are certainly themes of the motherly theme to this game. Again, this is likely a piece of the commentary on the current events, but given that Margaret Qualley's character named Mama, I'm gonna go ahead and guess is that subtext becomes text at some point in the game. Now, Deadman, Guillermo del Toro's character anyway, appears to be some kind of a undertaker, given that he's dressed for the occasions and just hanging around a dead body or something like that. And meanwhile, as well, Hartman, Drive director, by the way, Nicholas Winding Refn, looks like one of those designers of the system that we can see in the keeping of the game's babies alive. Now, at the very least, his color scheme matches that of the machinery anyway, the way he is anyway. I don't know, guys, you have to understand, there's a lot of the theories I'm popping in here as well. There could be a lot of things I could be completely wrong about, but this is still interesting to touch on a little bit and break down just a slight bit of this trailer. Because this trailer is so out of context, it's so out of place, and I think it makes it even more intriguing personally for me. I personally cannot wait for this game to come out, and man, I am so down. Tell me down in the comments what do you think. Tell me as well your theory, what do you think this game's all about. Now I understand, maybe you could have guessed and just, you know what, how about this? Go crazy as you can, because we are talking about Hideo Kojima, he goes crazy with his games as well, so you go crazy with the theories. I love to read those comments. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, see you guys later, have an awesome day, and as always, have a good one. You cashed in on